Thinking is a skill that needs to be practiced. Bob Proctor. You weren't born doubting yourself. You learned. You learned to doubt when they told you you were too much, when they laughed at your dream, when someone you admired pointed a finger and questioned your worth. You were whole. But over time, you became fragmented by careless words, cold stares, cruel comparisons. And little by little, you started to believe you needed to be less intense, less bold, less confident. You learned to ask for permission to be yourself. And in that process, you forgot who you were. But today you begin to remember. Because self-confidence is not a gift. It's a construction. It's a vow. It's a silent pact with your truth. Self-confidence is not arrogance. It's not superiority. It's not shouting louder. Self-confidence is being at peace with who you are, even when the world doesn't understand. It's speaking with conviction, even when your voice shakes. It's stepping forward, even while afraid. It's choosing yourself, even when no one else does. And it all starts within. Because if you don't believe in yourself, no one else will. The way you treat yourself teaches the world how to treat you. The way you see yourself defines what you allow and what you reject. And yes, building that confidence hurts. Because it requires letting go. It requires stepping away from those who prefer you insecure. It requires saying no where you used to say yes. It requires looking in the mirror and declaring, I am enough. I am capable. I am needed. And maybe, at first, that inner voice feels faint. Maybe it's been suffocated by years of rejection, criticism, and self-sabotage. But it's still there, waiting for your return. Because self-confidence isn't born from applause. It's born in silence. In those moments when you could quit, but choose to continue. In those days when fear screams, and you act anyway. Self-confidence is a flame. Not explosive. Steady. It doesn't need to prove anything. Because it knows. And you know there's something great inside you. You know you were made for more. You know you were born with a purpose. But between you and that purpose, there's a bridge. And that bridge is called self-confidence. You can have the best talent, the greatest idea, the biggest dream. But if you don't trust yourself, none of it holds. The world doesn't follow those who doubt themselves. The world follows those who live their truth unapologetically. And here's the secret. You don't build self-confidence by waiting to feel it. You build self-confidence by doing. You commit. You follow through. You decide. You keep your word to yourself, even in the small things. Because confidence is born from repeated aligned choices. Every time you betray yourself, a piece of your confidence breaks. Every time you honor yourself, a piece of your strength rebuilds. And little by little you rise. Whole, unshakable, not because the world changed, but because you stopped waiting for approval. You understood that self-confidence is when your inner voice becomes louder than any outside opinion. Have you ever seen the glow in someone's eyes who has found themselves? It's not loud. It's not theatrical. It's a quiet light, a magnetic field that says, I know who I am, and I don't need your confirmation. That's the energy that transforms. That's the energy that leads. That's the energy that attracts. And it's available to you. Today. Now. All you need to do is stop negotiating with your brilliance. Stop shrinking to fit. Stop asking for permission to exist. You already are. You are already enough. You already carry everything you need. What's missing is not talent. It's confidence. And confidence is built through intentional action. You don't need to feel ready. You just need to decide to go anyway. Because here's the truth. Confidence doesn't come before the movement. It's born after it. It's born in the middle of the journey, in the middle of the sweat, the effort, the stumble. Confidence is the child of persistence, not perfection. And that's where most people get stuck. They want certainty before they act. They want guarantees before they take a risk. They want to feel prepared before they leap. But preparation doesn't come before the choice. It comes as a response, as a consequence, as the result of someone who took action, even while afraid. You want confidence? Then start honoring your word. Not to the world, to yourself. If you said you'd wake up early, wake up. If you said you'd exercise, exercise. If you said you'd start that project, start. Because with every micro commitment you fulfill, you tell your mind, I am trustworthy. And that builds, that strengthens, that roots confidence into your system. There's no miracle. There's alignment. And alignment is the sum of the small decisions you make when no one is watching. It's easy to seem confident when everything's going well. But true self-confidence reveals itself in the dark days. In rejection, in silence, in the failed attempt, in the criticism that arrives. In those moments, what holds you up isn't what the world says. It's what you've built inside yourself. Because self-confidence is not inflatable. It's rooted, and roots are invisible. But they're what hold the tree steady when the storm comes. Do you want to grow? To thrive? To build something meaningful? Then your foundation must be solid. And that foundation must be you. Not others' opinions. Not applause. Not followers. But your deep connection with who you know you are. And if you lost that at some point in your journey, if you broke, shrank, or abandoned yourself, it's okay, because now you know you can return. You can rebuild. You can remember. You just need to make one decision. Stop negotiating with your power. From today on, promise yourself, you will never again beg for validation. You will never again put yourself last. You will never again let insecurity decide for you. You are greater than your fears, greater than the voices that try to diminish you, greater than any mistake you've made. And that strength, it's not out there. It's within you. It's right there, waiting for you to open the door, waiting for you to say, enough. From today on, I return to myself. And you return. More whole, lighter, stronger. You won't be perfect, but you will be true. And truth has power. When you walk with self-confidence, the world feels it. People notice. Opportunities move closer. Because there's something magnetic about someone who doesn't need to prove anything anymore. Only be. You don't need to be anything more than yourself to begin. But you do need to decide to stop doubting your own light. How many times have you sabotaged yourself just because someone didn't understand your path? How many times have you stayed silent just because you feared not being accepted? How many times have you hidden behind pretty excuses when, deep down, it was just your self-esteem crying out for help? Enough. You didn't come this far to live hunched under the weight of others' opinions. You came to expand, to inspire, to transform, and no one is going to hand that to you. Because self-confidence isn't given. It's built. It's unearthed. It's earned, one day at a time. You'll have to get back up when no one else lifts you. You'll have to keep going when no one else believes. You'll have to remember your worth on the days the world tries to make you forget. But I promise you, it's worth it. Because when you connect with who you truly are, When you stop apologizing for being strong, intense, ambitious, sensitive, a dreamer. When you stop editing yourself to fit into small molds, you become unshakable. Have you ever seen someone who truly believes in themselves? It's not about posture. It's not about rehearsed phrases. It's a presence. It's a steadiness in the eyes. It's a silence that says, I know who I am, and nothing out there can break me. You can be that person. You already are that person. But you need to stop feeding the version of yourself that lives in fear. Fear of failure. Fear of success. Fear of judgment. Fear of not being enough. And you know what? You're going to be judged either way. They'll criticize you for doing and for not doing. They'll say you're too much if you rise and lazy if you stop. So why not do what you believe in? Why not live your truth with your head held high? The world doesn't need more safe copies. It needs real people. People who have the courage to be, to feel, to shine, to take a stand. You don't need to please everyone. You only need to be loyal to yourself. That's the seed of self-confidence. That's the root of your freedom. And starting today, every choice can be a declaration. I trust myself, even when afraid, even with doubt, even without knowing the ending. Because trusting isn't about control. It's about surrendering with courage to the journey. It's saying yes to the unknown, knowing you can handle whatever comes. You don't need to know everything. You just need to believe you'll learn. You don't need to be ready. You just need to be willing. That willingness changes everything. It transforms the way you walk, speak, connect. It lifts you to another level because you start living as someone who has already chosen themselves. And when you choose yourself, the entire universe begins to choose you too. You were conditioned to doubt, but now you're reprogramming yourself to trust. It doesn't matter how long you felt small. It doesn't matter how many times you've sabotaged yourself. It doesn't matter how many traumas, disappointments, or falls you've experienced. You can start over. And this new beginning doesn't depend on anyone else but you. The rebuilding starts the moment you look at yourself with honesty and say, enough. I'm no longer going to run from myself. You don't need to wait for courage to arrive. You need to take action until it blooms. You don't need to wait to feel confident to take a stand. You need to take a stand to become confident. Every act of presence, every aligned choice, every yes to your essence, and every no to your self-erasure, all of it shapes your new identity. A steady identity, a whole identity, an identity that is non-negotiable. You begin to realize that the safety you were always searching for on the outside was always inside. What was missing wasn't talent. It was permission. Your permission. You spent your life trying to prove your worth. But what if, just for today, you chose to live as someone who is already worthy? No need to earn it. No need to reach for it. Just because you exist. Imagine waking up tomorrow and living as someone who knows. I am enough. I am worthy. I am powerful. That's what you activate when you build self-confidence. It's not about ego. It's about essence. It's about no longer apologizing for being whole. It's about letting go of the fear of bothering others. It's about taking up the space that has always been yours, without lowering your head. Self-confidence is when your presence speaks before your mouth does. It's when your energy enters the room before your name is even mentioned. And that doesn't come from magic. It comes from intention, from choice, from daily practice. You look in the mirror and no longer see someone broken, lost, or insecure. You see someone who chose to come back home to themselves, who chose to embody their power, who chose to stop abandoning themselves. And that is the greatest act of love you can practice. Because when you rise, others rise with you. When you believe in yourself, you free those trapped in the same invisible chains. You become a beacon. You become a bridge. You become living proof that it's possible. You are not here by accident. You didn't hear these words by chance. Because your soul already knows. It's time to trust again. You were born whole. And all that self-confidence does is return you to yourself. It gives back what has always been yours. Your voice, your presence, your clarity, your strength. And from this moment on, you no longer walk hunched over. You no longer settle for crumbs. You no longer shrink to fit where you no longer belong. You begin to walk with a new posture, speak with new firmness, choose with deeper discernment, live with a higher vibration. Because you've returned, you've decided to stop running from yourself. And that changes everything. You become a field of certainty, a silent example, a living reminder that true confidence doesn't need to prove, it only needs to exist. And when you stand in that space, something magical happens. Fear may still show up, but it no longer takes the lead. Doubt may still whisper, but you no longer bow to it. Because now you trust who you are. And that's enough. You don't need to shout. Your energy speaks for you. You don't need to convince. Your alignment already inspires. And in that state, the right doors open. The right people come closer. The right opportunities recognize your frequency. Because the world respects those who respect themselves. Life supports those who honor themselves. And the universe responds, without fail, to those who declare, I choose to trust myself. If this video touched you, if something inside you was activated, if you felt that you're ready to reconnect with who you've always been, then now is the moment to seal that. Subscribe to this channel. This is a place to remember your strength every single day. Share this video with someone who needs to remember their own power. And write in the comments, with all your vibrational truth, I choose to trust myself. Because knowing isn't enough. You must declare it. You are not insecure. You simply forgot what you already carry. But now you remember. Now you return. Now you trust. And this is just the beginning.